it's funny that you mentioned the hacks in life because I used to talk to a gentleman, an older gentleman, and he was kind of a mentor for me, you know what I mean, when it came to like the real estate and stuff like that. And one of the things that he used to always say is that there are secrets to life. He was like, you got to know the secrets to life. You know what I mean? So what are some of the secrets that you know?
Man, since I met my holistic health advocate friends and they taught me the game and some of the basic questions that nobody ever asked themselves, like, how does my body work? How does food work when I eat it? No one ever asked them these questions. So they started teaching me from a very basic level of what happens when you start chewing. So the basic thing when it comes to your health, you got to understand is that there's 3 enzymes in the world. There's plant enzymes. Every plant out there has enzymes in it. It's a living food, meaning it has living enzymes in it. So if you're eating living food, you're not depleting any of your enzymes in your pancreas, your digestive enzymes. And that's the second form of enzymes, is the digestive enzymes. But so many of us, including myself, we're eating cooked and processed meals. We're so far away from nature that we're spraying herbicides and pesticides on our crops. The soils are depleted of nutrients. And our food just doesn't have the nutrients it did in the past before 1950. Because after 1950, we started putting additives and preservatives in our foods, canning our foods, trying to give it the longest shelf life you possibly can have. There's apples, I guarantee, at the local grocery store that have been sitting there for longer than a week. And when you grab an apple and you bite it, if that apple, and you sit it down, you should do this with your apples at home. Bite the apple, sit it down, wait 5 minutes. If that apple does not turn brown, it's dead. There's no nutrients in that food. So what I'm getting at is if you're eating cooked and processed meals, you're depleting your enzymes from your enzyme bank in your pancreas. And when we run out of our enzyme bank in our pancreas, we start pulling from the third category of enzymes. Those are our metabolic enzymes. Those are the enzymes that come to your rescue when you're ill, when you have a disease, an illness, or break a bone in your body. Those ones go to heal the body. But if you're using all your digestive enzymes on cooked and processed meals, then guess what happens? You start pulling from your metabolic enzymes to digest your food, and then when you get sick and ill, you don't have the power in your body to recover. So when you run out of metabolic enzymes, you just die. You've seen people die of old age, all of us have. They've ran out of metabolic enzymes.
So why would you consider the way to eat and what you eat and paying attention to the foods that you eat a secret to life? How is that one of the secrets in life, and how is that beneficial?
Because in today's day and age, even if you're eating healthy, you're probably still not getting the nutrients that your body and your brain need. Because like I said, our soils are depleted of nutrients. It'll take 100 of today's apples to equal the nutritional value of an apple before 1950. If you look at pictures of people before 1950 at the beach or even out and about, all the men got their shirts tucked in because they don't have a belly to hide. People nowadays, we're not tucking in our shirts because our belly won't even let it happen. But I mean, you look at people at the beach before 1950 and they're all slim. They weren't dealing with as many illnesses as we are today. Cancer today, every last one of us knows someone. Either we are dealing with it or we know someone dealing with cancer, diabetes, or some type of autoimmune illness.
So do you think that's by design, that you're not being taught, you know what I'm saying, these secrets or this information that you're speaking about purposely?
Man, it's hard to think that there's people that are doing things that could be detrimental to the masses. But, from what I'm learning and from my research, it's true. Like I said, they're putting herbicides and pesticides on things. The food is getting tested and it's having Roundup in it. Like these are not only are they using the Roundup in the soils, but they're actually putting it in the food now.
So why is holistic medicine better than pharmaceutical medicines? Do you think it might be the pharmaceutical industry that wants to keep people sick?
I think that's true, but I mean the holistic route to me just makes more sense. Our body works as one. But in our healthcare system, which I call our sick care system a lot of times, is the way they look at our body. You got an ear, nose, and throat doctor. You got a kidney doctor. You got a heart doctor. You got a brain. Every part of your body is compartmentalized in the way they look at it. And if you have more than one thing going on with you, like your kidneys aren't doing so well, and your heart might not be doing so well, guess what? Your kidney and your heart doctor are never going to have a meeting and talk about what's good for you. Because my dad had kidney problems, and he had a general practitioner, and he had a kidney specialist. The general practitioners tell him, you can't eat this food. But then his kidney doctor's like, you need to eat this food. So it's conflicting information, and that's why we got so many people out here that are just confused.
We talked a little bit about the eating habits that people have and how the enzymes in your body are being depleted and stuff like that. What role will holistic health and the nutritional benefits that you're talking about, how would that play for mental health? Is there things that you could take for, to enhance your memory? Or a lot of people, they get Alzheimer's. You know what I mean? Is there something that could, combat that holistically?
Yeah, there's a lot that we could do for the old folks. Like the old folks are in the old folks home and they can't really chew, or they can't digest the food that like they could in the past, because every 10 years we lose 10% of our enzyme bank. So lactase, for instance, when you're a baby and you're either drinking formula or you're drinking from your mother's tit, if you stay breastfeeding for too long, then that baby is gonna keep depleting lactase from his pancreas or her pancreas. And what that's gonna do for that baby as they grow up as an adult, compared to a baby that got weaned off of mom's breast milk when they were supposed to, that the baby that stayed on mom's breast milk for longer is going to probably run out of lactase enzymes later in life. And then they're going to say, hey, doctor, every time I eat ice cream or every time I have a glass of milk, I have this horrible gas, or something happens and it's just real uncomfortability in my stomach, and I notice it's coming from the dairy. And the doctor will say you're lactose intolerant. But the truth is that you just don't have any more lactase in your pancreas to digest milk sugars.
So what are the type of things that they could eat? And I want to, reiterate the question.
Yeah.
So what can they do for mental health? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand.
Yeah, I was going somewhere with
that we talking about gut health.
I got a little thorough, but with the old folks, they're not able to eat meals, so they have to do meal replacements. And in these meal replacement shakes, there's a lot of heavy metals in them. So grandma, who's in the nursing home because she's having memory problems, having those meal replacement shakes ain't doing her no good. But things that would help her would be like something like lion's mane mushroom that has many mental health benefits. My friend, he owns a patent on plant extraction. There's a guy I market products for, and through his plant extraction process, we're able to create lion's mane fluid where it's 100% absorbable to the body, compared to if he put that in an oil. And his plant extraction process, he's the only person in North America that can extract from a plant and produce a fluid. So we're having much success with these different fluids. We do it with our whole flower fluid, our CBD fluid, but now we're starting to come out with other things. Like I mentioned, the lion's mane mushroom fluid.
That was going to be my next question too about the CBD. That's what I was going to ask you too. Like, how do you feel about that? Because they say the CBD is good with pain. It's good for mental health. What is your thoughts about CBD?
There's so many benefits for CBD. Autism. If you now, my people, they've been studying CBD since before like around 1960, and no one was studying it. They didn't even know what they were looking at when they were doing it. But they got to a point now to where if you would look back at hockey games in the 90s and someone hits the ice with a concussion, you will see the trainer running out there and spraying some whole flower fluid in that guy's mouth, in that hockey player's mouth. Now, CBD for any sport, football mainly, would be great for an individual to take because it'll help you with your flexibility. It'll make you more flexible, which makes you a better athlete. And it also does things for the brain to where the CBD will cover the brain receptors like condoms. And if the brain does get rattled, like a concussion type of hit, it won't do the damage that it would have done had you not taken the CBD before practice or before the game.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things going on with with football and the guys getting concussions and stuff like that. Like the one dude, he got the hit in the chest.
Yeah.
And then he just fell out. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I mean, you a football player. So I know I was talking to some guys and we was having a conversation. I didn't think that it was the blow to the chest that knocked the man out. I thought, you know what I mean, it was a blow to his head. You know what I'm saying? Are you familiar with those kind of blows?
Yeah, I've seen many hits and vicious hits, and that was sad what happened to Damar Hamlin, Buffalo Bill player. But yeah, we don't know what's going on nowadays. With the vaccine, we don't know if he was vaccinated or not, but we have seen athletes across the world just falling out because of myocarditis.
And explain what that is.
Myocarditis is a heart condition where it basically makes people have heart attacks.
And then you think that, well, it's a lot of talk about that could have came from the
you
COVID
know what
shot?
the number one killer in America is? It's medical malpractice. More people die. You notice when it comes to that vaccine, you gotta be careful what I say because a lot of our colleagues have been, suicided. But what I'm going to say is that, there's things that we think are good for us just because the government says that it's good for us, but you have to do your own research. And when you look at what's going on, the media outlets, and that's why it's beautiful what you have going on here because it gives people like everyday people like me and other folks an opportunity to speak and get this information out there because I could never do this on NBC or ABC because they're owned by the same people that own the pharmaceutical industry. And this one I'm gonna say with Western medicine, there's a time and a place for it. Mainly when you're dying, you're in a very unstable situation is when Western medicine should kick in. But if you're in a situation where you can proactively do something holistic and it might work, I would always say to do that first because if you can do that, and if that doesn't work, then you can go the Western medicine route because we know with Western medicine, these doctors, they take less than 1 hour of nutrition. They do not know how food works. I've asked the doctors in the hospitals. Well, my dad, they said he had COVID, so we couldn't come see him. But the next day we were able to see him. And I asked the doctors, I'm like, can you explain to me how this drug, remdesivir, is going to help my father? And the nurse couldn't explain it. So she's like, would you like me to get the doctor? I'm like, yeah, bring the doctor in here. I got another question to ask him anyway. So I asked the doctor, and he's rambling off about remdesivir. And I just told him, like, I read remdesivir. It's going to help right away, but then over the continuing weeks, it's going to start shutting down your organs.
So it do more damage than good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how they treat you anyway with medicine.
But check this out, bro.
Well, let me say this. Well, go ahead.
I asked him, I was like, so the COVID floor is the floor above us, right? I said, can I ask you a question? How many of those folks upstairs are you giving vitamins, antioxidants, and minerals to? You know what the answer was? None of them. Not one. How is that medicine when we're not even giving people the basic building blocks of life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what I was going to say was, because my wife, she worked for a pharmaceutical company, and it was her job. She was on the corporate side. It was her job to talk about the adverse events. Like, people would call in and tell her how a specific medication, how they reacted to it, how the medication helped or didn't help.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, like you said, it's always side effects, real bad side effects. So kind of the way that they treat you, in the United States is, they say it's the United States, they say it's a greater good. Like, they know that they gonna fuck a certain amount of people up. You know what I'm saying? But then this many people, it might help. So they saying they're gonna help more, than they kill. They already know they gonna fuck you up. And the side effects that some of these people used to go through, and the stuff that, people have to go through, taking these medications, it was horrible.
It's sad to admit, man, they're practicing medicine. Like I said, they have less than 1 hour of nutrition, but they know everything about pharmaceuticals. And the problem with pharmaceuticals is our body doesn't recognize pharmaceuticals. It recognizes plants. But the reason they go with the pharmaceutical version of the plant is because you cannot patent a plant. You can patent a man-made version of the plant in a pill form, in that petroleum capsule that Rockefeller introduced back in the 19, I don't know what year, but back when Rockefeller's day, the petroleum guy, does this sound familiar? The petroleum guy creates medicine. Now we're dealing with a technology guy getting into medicine. You know who I'm talking about, right?
You mentioned that Rockefeller, at some point, he wasn't even involved in pharmaceuticals or medication. I was reading that a lot of medications, vaccines, they have patents on it. Mm-hmm. But I haven't seen anything about any holistic plants having patents. Like right now, a lot of people, it's popular. They tell you about sea moss. They tell you use soursop. Mm-hmm. But nobody can say, that this is my soursop or this is my patent and you can't use it. Are you familiar as to why that is?
Yeah, it's all about the money. And it's sad to say that they just don't care. There's people that need medicines, pharmaceutical medicines, and there's people on the stock market that are driving the price of this stuff up. I've seen one drug where it was one pill was $800, and if you don't have insurance, how the heck are you going to pay for that? So yeah, I mean, it's a vicious game. First, they introduced the problem, which is there's no nutrients in the food, so we're going out there being deficient in all of our levels. My levels are different than yours. Everybody's different, but they know if we're deficient in different vitamins, that's going to lead to illness and disease. So that's the problem. And then they introduce the solution, like different shots and take this pharmaceutical. And then you ask them, when can I stop taking this pharmaceutical? You can't stop taking it. It's never going to get you back to close to 100%, because this is what this is about for me. It's not about living till I'm 100. It's about living as close to 100% as I possibly can. Just like when I was an athlete, the goal after we played a game or in the off season, our goal was to get our body right for preseason, and then in preseason get our bodies right for the games. And then when the games come, we're tearing our bodies apart, and then we got to rebuild them back and then do it again on Saturday again. And so if we can find a way, and I didn't know this stuff when I was playing ball, but if I did, I would have never been sore.
So why haven't they cornered the market on plants? Why aren't they, why you don't see plants on the stock market?
Even if they could patent a plant, which they can't, how much money can they make on a banana? You see what I'm saying? If the guy next door is selling the bananas for $5, how can you make $10 on the banana? You can't. But with this pharmaceutical pill, the stock market, it's in play with the stock market. These conglomerate pharmaceutical companies are in the stock market, and their stock can go up or down and drive the price of your medication that you're relying on for health. You know what the Dalai Lama said was wrong with Americans? He said, what I see what's wrong with the American people is early in their life they trade their health for wealth, just to later in their life trade their wealth.
To try to just spend the money, for health. When they see they dying, then they want to spend the money to survive.
So I just see things differently.
Yeah. But in the beginning, you're not worried about living. You trying to make money. Yeah. And then when you get ready to die, you trying to live because you can't take the money with you. So the bottom line is you can't patent a plant. That's the point I was trying to get at. So you can't even patent a plant. You see what I'm saying? That's why they won't teach you about holistic stuff because they can't make money on it. That's the bottom line. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Because they can't say, "Oh, this is mine and you can't use it and I own it."
So and they're never going to teach any of us in schools.
Right. So tell me, what do you think? How do you feel about health in this generation?
Well, this generation, I know this is the sickest generation of people this country has ever seen, and I think that it's all about what I'm saying. It starts with the food being grown in the soil that has no nutrients in it, and it's moving on and progressing into what we're eating that's causing inflammation, which is the number one killer besides medical malpractice in our country, because inflammation gone without treating it is going to spearhead into some form of illness and disease.
So with everything that you spoke about as far as the pharmaceutical industry not, trying to push their medications and stuff, do you feel like that there's an attack on plants?
Of course, I do. I think there's an attack on farming altogether.
Why?
I think we're making farming great again as we speak, because you look at the grocery store, $100 used to get you like 4 bags of groceries. Now $100, you're lucky if you walk out with 2 bags.
So how are they attacking farming? How are they attacking plants?
Well, they're just...
Are the seeds that we have now the same grade of seeds that we may have had 50 years ago?
There's a lot of genetically modified seeds out there. Like this farmer here, he's growing soy the natural way with organic seeds. You know how they take over that farm?
Explain to the people exactly how the pharmaceutical companies can be attacking plants.
Well, my people, they're having a hard time sourcing their ingredients. The government's giving them a hard time on getting those ingredients that they need sourced to their facilities to create their supplements. I've had people that have their own farms, and they're telling me that they got all organic seeds, and about 10% of the plants actually bloomed. They actually sprouted. So I think they're doing something with the seeds. There's so much going on that we need to pay closer attention to. But like I was saying, the prices in the grocery store are going up, so they're making everybody reevaluate this farming thing. So every day there's more and more people creating more sustainability with themselves by growing their own fruit, vegetables.
But if you can't get seeds, I mean, it won't even matter. If the seeds aren't any good, it's not going to grow anyway.
Yeah, we're all under attack. If you read the website on the World Economic Forum, their website says there's an agenda for 2030. They think that this world is overpopulated by 90%.
Yeah, well, the people that's ruling the world, that's how they feel. Yeah, that they want to get rid of a certain amount of people
by 2030.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, they did it. They got rid of a lot of people not too long ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And what's funny is I noticed that nobody died at home.
everybody died in the hospital.
Yeah.
And yeah, because they was getting more money. You know, that's like the bottom line of everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, people will even know that what's going on ain't right, but they like, fuck it. If I can make 40,000 a patient, everybody got COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's basically
exactly what happened.
That's what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they put all these trillions of dollars out here, and in order to get it, there were certain rules and guides that you had to, you know what I'm saying, abide by, and you was able to capitalize off of it. So, yeah, at the end of the day, you know what I mean, if you can make money, people don't even care. You know what I'm saying? So where can the people find your products and the stuff that you got and everything that you're talking about?
You can find me on any social media platform at #1Asset, all spelled out. Asset spelled differently. It's a play on my last name, but NumberOneAssett, any social media platform, or you can just type in my name, Dallas Bassett. I have a website for my holistic health formulas that I market for my holistic health experts. That website is Dallas Bassett, DallasBassett.cultureforgood.com. So culture spelled CULTUREFORGOOD.com. DallasBassett.cultureforgood.com. That's where you can get your hands on some of these supplements that'll help you feel less bloated, have more energy, feel better, have more sustainable energy throughout the day.
And bottom line, live a longer, healthier life.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, and when y'all my age, you will look like me. Dallas, I gotta thank you for coming, man. We appreciate it. And this ain't gonna be the last time y'all hear from our man Dallas Bassett and the #1Asset, because we definitely bringing them back here to Shot Rock Magazine studio on Black Tech and TV. Holla at you.
You didn't land at Plymouth Rock. Hell, you got hit in the head with the rock. You didn't land at Plymouth Rock.